All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. How you doing? This is part 2 of Ask the King for October 26th, 2017. So if you did not see part 1 yet, I recommend you go check it out. It's already live on YouTube. If you're here for the live stream, hope you enjoyed the break. We're back. We're going to jump right back into questions, okay? So, we've got 2 more patron questions to get through, and then we can get to the open forum questions. Here we go. The next one is from Zavon. And he says, Phil, I'd like to see more community interaction so we can grow as a community in a way that you would be beneficial to all of us. I would like to know if you had any ideas for content you'd like to see your community involved in. Maybe host a couple of content creator-driven contests a couple of times a year, etc., etc. I'm not sure. You know, over the years, there have been various different things, excuse me, that I've tried. Sadly, none of them have really permanently stuck as, like, an ongoing thing for the community. For example, I had a server at one point where I was playing games like Team Fortress 2 and stuff like that, and that went on for a year or two, and then it kind of died out and got closed, and different variations. You know, I got my forums on thekingofhate.com, and honestly, they don't get a lot of use anymore. You know, there was at one point where they were insanely used years and years ago, but it's been quite some time. I mean, I'm going on like 5 years, or really they're not used that much. Typically, the forums are used, for example, Ask the King, that's where you post your questions. At the end of the year, people vote sometimes on polls for year-end series. And, you know, I use it for various things here and there. Patreon in particular. Patreon, that's where the patrons nominate and vote on stuff for Patreon all the time. But really, outside of all that stuff, there really isn't a big, massive community. I would say, honestly, what's happened with my adoption of live streaming as more of my main focus this year, 2017, the community is really in the stream chat. I mean, take a look right now. I'm looking at the stream chat, and I can recognize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 people just talking right now who are regulars. And I recognize them by name. I know their, you know, their personalities. I know the stuff that they talk about, the kind of games that they watch, etc. And that's cool to have that kind of a community. You know, now if these guys in stream chat wanted to go over to the forums and also do discussions and stuff there, they could. But the thing is, I don't really talk about the forums that much outside of the uses that it gets for my streams and such. So I don't know. I mean, honestly, this question, I think, is more of a question for the viewers. What do you guys think? Do you think that there is some kind of a community interaction or a community creation, something we could do ongoing that would basically be a new kind of community interaction? I mean, earlier this year, I adopted KO Gaming's community creations, right? Where I was having people submit these montages of my gameplay, and I was highlighting them on KO Gaming. Sadly, KO Gaming is now defunct because YouTube basically blacklisted the damn channel, which is so stupid, I know, but they did. It's blacklisted. So I don't know. I mean, honestly, what would this would be an open question for you guys, maybe to toss some ideas out. And then, you know, once we get some suggestions, maybe things that I could farm, what I would say is this is probably a good discussion for the forums. If someone wants to make a thread about this, more community interactions on the forums and talk about it. Although it's funny because I'm pretty sure Siobhan did make a thread about this a few months ago, and it went a couple pages and then kind of died out. That's what I mean. Like, honestly, for me, I'm very busy, as you guys know. Every day here, I'm live streaming at a minimum 4 to 5 hours, at a maximum, usually 8 or more hours. So with all the streaming and the uploading and everything I'm doing, I really don't have a lot of free time for these kind of community interactions and stuff. People have said to me, why don't I have a Discord? And I keep saying, every time that someone says that to me, I say, what do I need a Discord for? What would I do with it? Oh, we would talk with your fans. I do that in the stream chat. What else, you know? And that's it. And that's where it dies. What I think Discord is... It's the hot place where people like to go hang out. Instead of just hanging out in Twitch stream chat, go to Discord. You could have verbal discussions with microphones and stuff. And I understand people might like that, but I haven't found, honestly, a reason to have a Discord. If someone could say, here it is, here's a good idea, here's what you need it for. But so far, no one's really been able to present me, here's the case of why you should have this and how it's beneficial to you and your viewers and everything. No one has. So, you know, in that regard... I don't see the point. You guys, if you want to chat, you've got the forums, you've got stream chat. You know, there's places you could already do it. It's not like there's nowhere to go, so I make a Discord. These places already exist. All right. Atlas Teleban with the final patron question. He asked, what is your most anticipated game after having played so many? It doesn't have to be a game which is actually in development. If you could name 1 or 2 games that you would like to see created or completed, what would they be and why? First of all, I think one answer here that I'm going to give is going to be one that everyone kind of expects, being that I'm an avid fighting game player, a longtime fan, in particular of the Street Fighter franchise. I want Capcom to make a fucking Street Fighter game that plays like Super Turbo again, and is like that, meaning no gimmicks, no fucking stupid easy mode bullshit, so it's dumbed down for kids to play. I'm talking make a hardcore fighting game again. They haven't done that in so long. They really haven't. Look at all the games that Capcom's put out recently. Street Fighter V, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. They're dumbed down games for the masses to the point where they're not even fun to play competitively. They're just not. A game like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the entire gameplay of the game is learning an abusive rushdown strategy combo that you just spam nonstop and it hits randomly. Sometimes it'll hit backwards, sometimes it'll hit low or high, sometimes, you know what I mean? And once you get that one hit, leads to a giant combo and that's the end of the match. That's not fun. That's not a good competitive game. Look at a game like Super Turbo where there's so much intricacy to the gameplay. There's footsies, spacing, zoning, lockdown traps, tick throws, reversals, supers, advanced combos, anti-airs on reaction. I'm not just talking about spamming, but actually doing reactionary moves and anti-airs and stuff. Super Turbo is so simple, but has so many advanced gameplay mechanics that went on to spawn so many countless fighting game series. But now it seems like Capcom's all abandoned most of them. Street Fighter V was designed with so much input lag at launch that half the strategies for other fighting games, including Super Turbo, don't even work in the game. You can't even play the game on a reactionary basis because there was so much input delay when the game was made. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, fuck all that. You can't even block because the whole game is just rush down, mix up into a giant combo that insta-kills you. So that's what I mean. They've lost their way when it comes to what makes a fighting game good. And that's why these games, honestly, are not anywhere near as popular as they used to be. Street Fighter IV, yes, had a lot of flaws, but Street Fighter IV innately had a lot of things that made it a very high-level competitive game. Street Fighter V and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite do not have that. They are just jokes. They were games made to be stream-hype games, and honestly, they're garbage to play. Competitively, they don't hold a candle to older Street Fighter games, and it's just sad that Capcom has diluted themselves to that level. I even hate to say it, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, as much as I disliked that game, and that game also was a one-hit death, at least that game took several months to devolve into that, while Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite took a day. One day the game was out, everyone already found everything, and was insane one-hit death combos and everything, and every character has, that's what I mean, like, it's so different than it used to be. These fighting games used to have longevity, because day one, not everyone broke the fucking game and put all that shit on the internet. Instead, it was you go to your arcades and you're trying to learn the game slowly, and then you go to tournaments and you share this knowledge with others, and it would take years for the high-level strategies to be developed. While today, everything gets done instantly. So Capcom makes everything so simple now so that everyone could look like they're playing at a high-level player, as a high-level player, and everyone could think that they're a great competitive player to sell more copies. What's sad is it's backfired. Take a look at Street Fighter V, MVC Infinite. They haven't sold anywhere near as much as the older Capcom games that they used to come out with for fighters, and it's their fault. What really happened, honestly, I think they lost all the people who used to be on the fighting game dev teams. I think they're gone. I think they're long gone. Seriously. I think that they, those people left to work on other projects and other companies, or moved on to do other stuff. So now they've got the B team or even the C team coming in to design their fighting games for them, and they all suck. Competitively, they're shit. Yeah, they may look flashy, so people want to watch them on stream, and you can get a tournament attendance of a bunch of fucking scrubs, and you get 800 people in a fucking tournament, and the game still sucks. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. When you cater to a specific demographic and a certain audience, instead of just worrying on the quality of your game, over the long run, it's going to shoot you in the foot. And that's exactly what's happened with Capcom. So for me, my most anticipated game would be Capcom to go back to its fucking roots, make a fighting game that's actually tough to play at a competitive level, that has a learning curve, that you actually have to play the shit out of it to get good at it, not learn everything in 5 minutes because the game is so easy. And a game that has basic gameplay mechanics again. Make Street Fighter 6 the sequel to Super Turbo. Make it just like that. No gimmicks. None of this fucking stupid gimmick moves. Just basic moves, special moves, supers. And have it be a zoning game, a game that has this high level rather than the bullshit. But I don't think they would ever do that because the game wouldn't sell. The game, right? oh God, then all the kiddies will say it's not a flashy game and they wouldn't want to watch it on stream. Unbelievable how things have degraded, man. That would be my answer. All right. Shout out to Darkside Jeff, who did a 250-bit cheers. Says, I want the loot emoji bits gimmick Twitch is doing. Yeah, I guess Twitch is doing some kind of a loot box emoji thing where the more cheering you do, you earn Halloween emojis, and one of them you keep permanently and the others are only here till Halloween or something. I don't know. I don't know about it, but anyway, thank you for the cheer, Jeff. Okay. Now, let's get to the forum question. So, first question from the forums is from Gustavo. Gustavo asks the following. He says, hey, Phil, what's up? I have a question regarding shyness and anxiety. I've always been both shy and anxious, basically my entire life. Therefore, it's really difficult for me to do anything, whether trying to get a job or even moving on with my life and various things. Every time I go to a job interview, or I just think about starting to even go, I get to experience all kinds of strange feelings. Like, what if I were there and I say something stupid? Or I suddenly get paralyzed? What are they going to think about me? And when I actually get there, all those thoughts then materialize because I've been worrying about it so much. It's an arduous task to deal with those things on a daily basis. Could you give me some advice on how to at least mitigate it? Thanks for reading, and congrats from Brazil. Love your vids, dude. Keep up the awesome work. Well, a lot of people have asked me over the years, Phil, how do you publicly speak so easily? How is it that you're on stream daily, you're on YouTube making videos daily, and you're not nervous? Because you're going to have that for the public. You have thousands and thousands of people watching you on a daily basis. How do you not get nervous or whatever? Listen, it didn't come easy. It didn't just like overnight, boom. When I was a kid, I practiced. I did a lot of public speaking. When there were essay contests or speaking contests at school, I would enter them. And based on that, basically, you know, always publicly speaking, I got used to kind of being in front of an audience. Now, in addition to that, I'll be honest, I honestly think it's my Street Fighter experience that kind of got me used to being in front of an audience, because I was in an arcade playing in front of people. What I was doing was being publicly displayed by a bunch of people, and they would all see if I won or lost, if I did good or if I sucked, right? And then eventually that turned into tournament level, where, oh, now you're at a tournament, now everyone's watching your matches, and everyone's wondering, is he going to do good or bad? So it became a lot of experience based off of playing games in Street Fighter that gave me that kind of in-person experience. And then, you know, being Evo on the main stage and performing at that level, and, you know, all that stuff. So honestly, when I started recording videos for YouTube, it actually didn't bother me at all, honestly. I felt at home just having a camera pointed at the TV and me kind of playing the game and having fun. And even right now, I'm live streaming to hundreds of people. I don't know how many, but hundreds of people are watching me right now all over the world. You know, that's the thing. My viewer base is worldwide. I'm not nervous. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just answering the question, being matter of fact, being honest with everyone, and, you know, just, you know, fabricating an answer in my head and share it. I'm not thinking about there's hundreds of people on the other side of this camera, on the other side of the internet watching. I don't think, you know, I'm just doing what I do. But I'll be honest with you. One reason that I think I don't get nervous is honestly, I don't overthink stuff. So let me explain. Today, for Ask the King, I could have been thinking all night about, oh man, what do I need for Ask the King? Is this going to go right? Is that going to go right? Is this, you know, am I going to remember to put the hat on? Is this going to, you know, where are the questions? Does my printer work? And all that shit. And if I just worried myself and worked myself up so much about it, I'd probably be nervous as shit every time that I went to live stream. The thing is, I worked myself into a routine now where doing things in public is a common thing, right? It's my routine every day is just coming here on stream and being chill with you guys. I'll be honest with you. This is actually true, and I haven't even talked about this yet. This year, when I adopted live streaming constantly, okay, every day live streaming, and everything was stream-oriented rather than focused on YouTube on-demand videos. Face cam. Now, every single playthrough that I do, I have face cam. Every single gameplay video has it, right? I'll be honest, that actually made me a little self-conscious because I'm not exactly the most fucking handsome-looking dude, right? I don't shave every day. Every morning when I wake up, I'm not in front of the mirror, you know, doing my hair up. I'm not putting makeup on. Did you know there's fucking streamers who do makeup? I'm not kidding. There's the big YouTubers and streamers, they put makeup on before they go, they do their fucking stuff, if you can believe it. I don't do that shit, all right? I'm just me. I'm a normal guy. And I was like, man, are people now who don't maybe necessarily watch my vlogs, okay, who just watch my gameplay, now they're going to see me in my face and me every day. I got to be more presentable. And I'll be honest, there were things I had to change. Look, now I used to just wear whatever. I didn't care what the hell I was wearing because I wasn't on camera. Now I try to wear a nice t-shirt for you. So at least when, you know, you get to see a new piece of merch, this is from my Teespring shop here, or just a cool t-shirt that's gaming or pop culture related, or something interesting, because, you know, just to be wearing a white t-shirt every day would be pretty boring, right? But no, I don't get myself all, even then, after maybe about a couple weeks of me getting used to always having the webcam on, I didn't overwork myself for, I got to get ready, right? I got to get ready for stream. I got to do my hair. That's what I mean. For me, I just made it a more common thing. And that's the thing. If you approach stuff and kind of just like, well, whatever, what I'm about to do may be something that's nervous. It may not go right, but it's not the end of the world. You know, that's how I approach job interviews, all right? I'm going to go to a job interview, and I'm going to talk about myself. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell, you know, whatever they ask, strengths, weaknesses, you know, everything. I'll be honest with them, you know, and in some cases they may think you're fit for the job, and in some cases they may not. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's not the end of the world if you don't get the job, right? So why worry? Why fuss? Why work yourself into such a tizzy about it that you're now physically shaking and, and you're stammering and you're locking up and you're forgetting stuff? You know, it's just not worth it. Your life is life. There's going to be other stuff going on in your life. It's not the end of the world. I think that's what it is. People have these events that they think are so ultra important. And if they don't go perfectly, now they get so nervous about the fucking event that now they work themselves into these kind of fits. It's never happened to me. It hasn't, because, like I said, I don't overthink. I just kind of make these things appear to be like commonplace events in my head. I don't over prepare. I do prepare, but I don't over prepare. And then it makes them a lot less nerve-wracking. Okay. Next question is from Gunnerman1400, and he asked the following. On a previous Ask the King, someone brought up the topic of PC, meaning being politically correct. I would like to know, in your opinion, why do you think that there's an uprising of PC/social justice culture? I honestly see it as pointless at best, but unnecessary at worst, and it's one of the things in our own modern times that I turn a blind eye to and has not been able to relate with people. Thanks. Now, here's the deal. Gunnerman, I actually disagree with you. I disagree with you. I don't think that social justice or being politically correct or helping, talk about minorities, Black Lives Matter, feminism, gender, being transgender, LGBT. I know there's more than those four, but being conscious of that and being supportive of all those things, I don't think that it's unnecessary. I don't think that it's pointless. I actually think it has a place in modern society because we are becoming an entirely more progressive society as time marches on. We're becoming more accepting of things that maybe used to be seen as fringe or weird or bizarre or not norm. Now we're much more accepting of those things. I just mentioned earlier on this episode of Ask the King about nerd and geek culture. It used to be fringe, weird, and now nerd and geek. It's cool to be a geek, man. That's the in thing. We all like geeky shit. Video games and superhero movies are the biggest thing, when back then superheroes used to be a joke for kids, right? So we're talking about modern times. Things evolve, okay? And I'm all for acceptance of people who are not in the norm, Well, I'm not bigoted against people who may be homosexual or transgender or, race we'll talk about. I'm not prejudiced against any particular race whatsoever. And, these are important issues that need to be brought up, especially if you see that there are things that are going on that aren't fair. Right now, currently, we have this big scandal going on, the Harvey Weinstein scandal, where it was found that a big-time male producer in Hollywood had a systematic history of abuse within his industry, where he was molesting, sexually harassing, even raping young actresses, and no one did anything to stop it. Yeah, we need to speak up against that shit. Because look, now this guy's done it for over 20 fucking years. You got all these victims coming out, right? And now you realize this has actually been a big issue. I mean, let's be honest here. It's probably an issue in every industry. In every big industry, you've probably got these habitual abusers who no one wants to speak up against because they're the bigwig. And if you speak up against them, you maybe never get a job in that industry ever again, right? It's a problem. And you might say, well, this is different because back then no one would speak up. Now, because it's 2017, everyone speaks up. What's the deal? What's changed? In my opinion, a few things. First of all, we are becoming a much more global culture, a much more global society. And what I mean by that is, before the internet, who did you really know? Well, I knew my family. I knew my friends. I knew my next door neighbors, maybe the people from school, the people from work, right? And that was your net. That was your social network, was what? Maybe at tops 100 or so people, maybe a few more depending on how many you actually knew. And that was the extent of most people's reach in their life. Like, that would be it. You know 100 people. Now, you would hear about celebrities and you would see people in the news, but that was different, right? Now, we've got this meshed culture where now everything's on the internet. Digitally, you can talk to anyone. And now you've got this social network that's expanding massively. People with thousands and thousands of followers on Facebook and Twitter. How many people watch my videos or read my tweets and shit like that? You know what I mean? Even my Instagram has almost like 4,000 followers, which is crazy. And I don't even post anything interesting up on there. But that's what I mean. It's now becoming a global culture. While some people hate that, they don't like global culture. Some people love it. You're going to have differing opinions. But undoubtedly, that's what the world has become, a more global culture. When you become a more global culture, right, now people have the ability to bring up these kind of issues over the internet where they don't feel like, man, maybe if I do this, I'm not going to get support, right? If I speak up, it's not going to get swept under the rug because it's going to be public. It's going to be on these global social networks now, right? You know, it's very possible that one of these actresses in the 1990s who got abused by Harvey Weinstein, if they spoke up, that they would have said, keep your mouth shut if you ever want to work in Hollywood again. Here's your $100,000 settlement and shut the fuck up or you'll never get hired again. And that's it. Don't tell anyone about it. And then if they went out and tried to make a stink, no one would listen. Now, we've got everything online. So immediately you go to Twitter, you start talking about it, everyone knows what's going on. And you've got this global audience. It's different. And that's what it is. It's technology is advanced to the point where we have a global culture. And now these kind of social justice issues can be brought up on a global scale. Now, there's always a downside to that, sadly. All right? The downside to that is now that we have an entire generation growing up, all right, who honestly, because of this global culture now being mainstream, they've been coddled. Their whole life, they've never had real adversity. They've never actually faced anything that was challenging. And anywhere they went, they had safe spaces. They were protected. Their parents told them that they were special little fucking snowflakes. And basically, they're becoming humans that aren't actually functional in a world that's going to hurl challenges at them. They're not. They expect that in this perfect globalization society, everything should be handed to them on a silver platter. They shouldn't have any adversity or any struggle. Everything should just be easy, and their life should be super easy. For them, the most challenging thing that happens to them is they go to Starbucks to get the pumpkin spice frappuccino, and they're out of pumpkin spice. And they go on social media, oh my God, boycott Starbucks, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. Fucking McDonald's doesn't have the Szechuan sauce for Rick and Morty fans, and you got idiots jumping on the counter going, I'm Pickle Rick, and they're fucking throwing shit around the stores. What the fuck has society become, ladies and gentlemen? That's the question. Because we become a globalized society, what's happened is every individual now thinks they're more important than the whole. And when that happens, you get people doing stupid shit and being, thinking that the whole world is a safe space and all of that. And that's not how the real world is. It really isn't. It hasn't been, you really have to realize that in life, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be wins and there's going to be losses. There's going to be hits and misses. There's going to be times when things are going great and there's going to be times when things go bad. And you have to become a mature adult to realize that. And sadly, I hate to say it, many people are not just ever maturing in their heads anymore. What's happening is they're in this endless childlike state where the world is black and white and I should be protected and I should always get everything I want. Everyone's becoming a spoiled brat. And that's the extreme of the PC culture and the extreme of the SJW, feminist, LGBT culture is protect me because I'm a special snowflake and I never should have a challenge or anything go wrong with me. And if anything ever challenges me, well, it's horrible and awful and should be changed. And that's bad because what's going to end up happening, you're going to get a homogenized culture of people who are just basically sheep. All they do is they follow these big figureheads because to them, their whole life, they would never have to have an individual thought. Everything was always done for them perfectly. They were safe spaced their whole fucking life, right? They never had to stand up for themselves and have, and the other thing is when you live like that and you grow up in the safe space society, you don't ever see real adversity. Now every little thing that's stupid becomes your agenda. right? So it was awful. Absolutely. We still have issues in this country with race. We still have issues where certain races in certain parts of the country are treated differently by police, are treated differently in the job market. I agree. And what we should be doing is we should be analyzing this data and finding out where it is and trying to fix that. What we shouldn't be doing is sitting all day on Twitter, hashtag Black Lives Matter, and every single possible thing that could happen, say that it's something racial. Like, what was the ridiculous, ludicrous thing that I saw the other day? I can't even remember what it was. Well, one of the things that I know is going on right now, all right, is Justin Timberlake was just announced that he would be the halftime show for this year's Super Bowl. Okay, Justin Timberlake. And immediately, the Black Lives Matter people went nuts and said, well, how is this fair to us? Because Janet Jackson was there with Justin Timberlake at the halftime show years ago, and her boob was exposed because Justin Timberlake took off a piece of her clothing during their performance, which she claims she didn't know that he was going to do, that it was just something that he surprised her or something. And they were both banned, but now he's allowed back to the Super Bowl, and she's not. How is this fair? This is racism and sexism, and they blew up social media about how it's so unfair to Janet Jackson that she can't be back at the Super Bowl. All right? Now, let's actually look at this. Will we ever actually get a full explanation of what happened at that Super Bowl halftime show? I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, it was so stupid. It's a piece of the fucking human body that on a woman, for some reason, it's sexually taboo, but on a man, they could be fucking... Justin Timberlake could have been completely fucking naked from head to toe, except for like a Speedo at the Super Bowl, and he would have been okay. But because Janet Jackson's nipples showed up, oh my God. People are so fucking retarded in their heads, they don't realize that this is like an outdated thing and that there's nothing wrong with women's breasts. There's nothing taboo about them. It's just an outdated thing that's still out as a human society. We haven't gotten it out of our minds yet. But how about we look at this logically? Justin Timberlake, well, he's still a pertinent celebrity. He still shows up on talk shows. He still makes music. He still shows up on Saturday Night Live as a regular guest. He's still kind of pertinent when it comes to, you know, being a pop culture celebrity / musician. Janet Jackson. When was the last time Janet Jackson put out a piece of music that anyone gave us two shits about, right? Probably that halftime show. So, gee, I wonder why they're not getting Janet Jackson for the 2017 Super Bowl halftime show. Probably because she's not fucking pertinent anymore. Duh, has nothing to do with the fact that her nipple was exposed 15 fucking years ago, wherever the fuck it was. No one cares about that shit. Seriously, it's so dumb. But this is what I mean. Let's take this situation and not approach it logically, and let's spin it into our own crazy agenda because we're sheltered babies and sheltered, coddled wimps, and we have to constantly find something to complain about so that we feel that we have value in the planet, because really all we do is sit at home on social media and complain all day. So, oh, Justin Timberlake's coming back to the Super Bowl halftime show. That's ridiculous. It's racist and it's sexist. In reality, here's the truth, folks. No one should give a flaming fuck who's at the fucking Super Bowl halftime show. Why the fuck do you care? What does this have to do with anything? It's not important. It's a stupid 10-minute segment of a sport that's also overly inflated of its importance in the United States. No one should give a fuck who's performing at the halftime show. No one. It doesn't matter. It's completely worthless. It's garbage. It's pop culture trife. It doesn't affect you whatsoever in your life. If you don't watch the halftime show, it doesn't ruin your life. So why the fuck do you care who's at it? But this is what I mean. This is what people are worrying about. They're so sheltered and coddled. No adversity in their life. Where I'm not worried about how I'm going to get food on my table tomorrow. I'm not worried about how I'm going to pay the bills. I'm not worried about my health because healthcare, you know, everything's good. Therefore, I got to worry about the dumbest shit. So I'm going to make a stink about the Super Bowl halftime show. And that's what's happened to modern society, this globalized society. So that's my take on it. Social justice and being politically correct has its place when there's actually real injustice, not for every little fucking stupid thing. And sadly, that's what we're seeing all the time now. Okay. Excuse me. The next question is from I Will Break You. I said completely the wrong thing. The next question is from I Will Break You. By the way, shout out to Molly216 who subscribed to the channel during that segment. Thank you, Molly, for subscribing. Okay. I Will Break You asks 2 questions. First question, he says, hey, Phil, this may be considered a stupid question, but I always wanted to know 2 things. I know that you love pizza, considerably East Coast style pizza, but do you have a go-to frozen pizza like Tombstone, Red Baron, Freschetta, or DiGiorno? Yes, my go-to frozen pizza is the Rising Crust DiGiorno pizza. Now, there's various varieties. You can get one with pepperoni, supreme, and, you know, me personally, I either just like pepperoni or supreme. They also have a really good one that's chicken, I think it's chicken parm, where it's actually pieces of chicken with tomato chunks, which is really good. The reason I like it is because when you cook it, the crust rises like real pizza, and when you cut it, it's thick, and the toppings are usually very delicious, and the ingredients are pretty delicious in that style of frozen pizza. I've had others, like I hate the thin crust cookie style crust pizzas. To me, that's not real pizza because I grew up with East Coast style pizza, which is a more doughy style pizza. But there you go, DiGiorno Rising Crust, okay? That's my fave. By the way, shout out to Golden Colts, who just did a 100-bit cheer. I Will Break You had a second question. He says, I know you like to make your own sauce, but let's say that you wanted a quick meal and didn't have any of your homemade sauce around and had to get a pasta sauce jar from the market. For example, Ragu or Newman's Own, Bertolli, Prego, Francesco Rinaldi. Which would be your favorite go-to pasta sauce in a rush? Honestly, I couldn't answer you. The reason I can't answer you is because I haven't had those canned sauces in a million years. I haven't. My ex-girlfriend used to make a veggie pasta dish. And what this is, it would be zucchini and other veggies chopped up, mixed in with pasta. And for that, we didn't use my sauce. We bought store-bought sauce. And we actually bought this sauce that was made from the local brand. What was it called? I think it's like Premium Select, Private Selection, which is a Kroger. But Kroger is a supermarket chain out here. So it was like the Kroger brand special pasta sauce that we would use in that. But outside of that, I always use my sauce. Like, I never buy Prego or anything. So I couldn't answer. I don't even know what they taste like because I haven't had them in years and years. I think years and years ago, my mom every once in a while would use Prego. But I couldn't tell you what's good because, like I said, I don't use those sauces. Okay. All right, yes, I have time for one more question in this part before we take a break. So this one's from Isaac Graham, who's a person who I used to know from the fighting game community. He's actually asked a bunch of questions in the past few Ask the Kings, and he's enjoyed the answer, so he asked another one. It's a good question. He says, Phil, I'm interested in your business thoughts. What do you think about someone who works a 9-to-5 job for their whole life and makes a decent amount of money, let's say $100,000 a year or more, and then retires versus being your own boss and setting up a business? Are you someone who likes to take a risk and maybe get a bigger reward for it, more so than someone who would prefer a steady income? Well, here's the thing. And I've said this many times over the years. Many people may not realize it because I don't mention it all the time. I didn't intentionally do this as a job. What I'm doing right now, I never intended to do as a job. I made YouTube videos as a hobby from 2008 till late 2010 and never made a dime doing it. It was just my hobby. I liked playing games and filming them and putting them on the internet and doing some vlogging here and there. I just thought it was fun to do. It was something interesting to do. Then I lost my full-time office job in late 2010. I was laid off and I needed to find something quick to start making money because I had a condo, I had a car, I had all these payments and everything. And I was like, how am I going to keep my stuff? It's all going to get, I'm going to go into financial ruin here if I don't find a way to make money. So then I found a way to monetize my videos, and the rest is history. So I've been in both parts. I've had the 9-to-5 office job, and I've had the run at being my own boss. All right. The 9-to-5 office job has its advantages. For example, you work 9 to 5. Now, yes, sometimes if it's a salary job, you're required to come in early and work late. And if you get a special task or whatever, you're required to. But in general, you have set hours and you actually have time away. Versus if you're your own boss, you own your own business, there is no time away. There's just not. The time away you take is $1 you didn't earn. And so really what you're doing is chancing that something, you're going to make less money or something could go wrong if you take time away from having your own kind of business. Even if I didn't do YouTube, if I had my own restaurant or whatever, it would be the same thing. I'd always have work tied up in a restaurant or whatever. I'd always constantly have to be thinking about that, right? So in that regard, that's one positive about actually having the office job is you're actually you're able to have a work-life balance. You're able to walk away at certain times during the week to have time to yourself or time for your family versus when you own your own business, basically your life is your business, right? Now, yes, you can still have family and everything, but it's really challenging to find a balance between all that stuff. It really is. Another thing about having a 9-to-5 office job, healthcare. Typically, most major corporations in the United States will provide you with some kind of bundled in healthcare. Yes, you pay for it, but typically it's less expensive than if you went out there and got healthcare for yourself. I know personally, when I used to have healthcare through my employer, it was way cheaper than now that I have to go out for myself and get individualized healthcare because I'm self-employed. And typically the healthcare is a lot better because they're able to negotiate and bargain with these big insurance companies to get better plans for their employees. While I'm just relying on whatever those insurance companies offer, right? And since Obamacare came into effect, now I'm basically just relying on whatever Obamacare mandated that these companies offer. So healthcare is a huge, big one, all right? It is. Also, having a 9-to-5 office job, one of the big benefits is retirement. A lot of them will set you up with a 401k or otherwise another kind of a retirement plan where you can funnel a little bit of money into it. A lot of these places will match the money that you've actually put into the plan. Guess what? Self-employment, there's no money. I have no retirement fund, zero, because I have no money. So, nothing right now, I have nothing for retirement. I have to keep working constantly for as far as it goes, and honestly, it sucks because if I had a 9-to-5 job, and I knew I was on a career path, for example, where I had maybe opportunity for a promotion, or even not. Maybe if I was just settled into my job and people liked what I did, and I was valued as an employee, I could set goals and say, I could do this at this stage of my life, and this at this stage of my life. I haven't been able to do that doing this because I never know tomorrow what's going to happen with my income. My income could fluctuate tomorrow. You know what I mean? So that's really what's happened with me is I had goals and plans and most of them never came to fruition because something would happen. YouTube ad revenue would plummet. Oh my God, false copyright strikes. You know what I mean? All this shit. And it always would affect me and put me in kind of a state of just maintaining. So, yeah. It sucks in that regard. Now, let's talk about the flip side. What's good about being your own boss versus the 9-to-5 job? Well, number one, I've been able to do something that I love. I didn't love my old office job that I had. I didn't. I mean, I liked it somewhat. Really what I liked is when I got respect and when I got trusted by my management to do a good job. That's what I liked, the responsibility and the accomplishment of doing something good. But let's be honest, I worked for a helicopter company. Do you think I really cared about the oil rig company who purchased the helicopter and was flying it to get oil back? I don't care about that shit. With what I do now, I'm involved in every step of the process. Purchasing the games, playing the games, sharing those experiences, live with you, interacting with you guys, reviewing the games on the tail end. And I get to see the direct results of satisfaction of my work because I get to see you guys every day, right? I love video games. This is cool. It's my hobby. It's my job. I'm kind of, in a lot of ways, I would say I'm living the dream, although financially I'm not doing great. But I am living the dream in the fact that I still enjoy what I do every day on a daily basis. Thank God, because imagine if I was self-employed and I was doing something like, let's say I opened a restaurant and I really didn't like it, but that's what I was tied in forever. I wasn't able to get out of it. Holy shit. So, yeah, that's the cool thing is, I love what I do. And I get to basically live the dream versus in a 9-to-5 job. A lot of people who work those jobs just do it as a work. That's what they see it. That's my work. That's separate from fun and from life. For me, I have fun when I work. And that's awesome that I have fun while I'm actually working. That's a pretty cool thing. In addition, being my own boss, I get to make the decisions, right? All the decisions about me are ultimately mine. What games I'm going to play, what time I'm going to stream, if I'm going to do more streaming or YouTube focus, am I going to do game reviews? Am I going to do edited content? What am I going to focus on? All this is me. I make the decisions, right? Now, there are limitations of what YouTube and Twitch will allow and also my financial constraints of what I can afford. But ultimately, I am the end-all, be-all boss of my existence on the internet versus 9-to-5 job. You always got a boss. You always got company edicts. You got to do this. You got to do that. We've got to get this done by then. And too bad if you don't feel good today, you got to bust your ass to do it, That's kind of how it is, when you have that 9-to-5 job. So the thing is, there's pros and cons. I liked having my 9-to-5 job until that last 6 months of it when basically the whole company fell apart and everyone was getting laid off and they were restructuring. They didn't know what to do with half the people and they laid off a bunch of people and I was one of them. Yeah. Basically, that's the situation where that is the risk you take when you work for a corporation and you're not the boss. Is at any time they could stop treating you like a human and start treating you like an asset and say you're released. And that's what happened to me. Here, at any time, sure, I could stop doing what I'm doing, but again, I'm my own boss, so I don't have to worry about, oh, Phil got laid off. You know what I mean? From streaming in YouTube or anything like that. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a good opportunity to take a break. Let's take a break here. Let me do a couple shout outs. First of all, Midnight PX subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Midnight PX, for the sub. Coverus did a 40-bit cheer. And Guy12390 did a 10-bit cheer. Okay? So thank you for your cheers. Appreciate that. Let's take a break. I'm going to come back in about 10 minutes or so live here on stream to continue. We've actually gotten, let's see. We got about halfway through the forum questions. So one more part. We'll definitely get through the forum questions. I don't know if we'll get to Twitter. We'll see. But let's take a break on a stream. For those watching on YouTube, it's just going to be another part. It'll be part 3, okay? So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back in a few minutes with the continuation of Ask the King. See you then.